Quick tutorial to refresh your memory on how to use Stencyl for your interdisciplinary unit. So let's begin. All right, the first thing that I want to go over for some students is that how do we get started? So you've loaded up Stencyl like I've got right here, and you've got your previous game that you did with your previous teacher, and you're not sure how to get started with all this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you need to close down this project. So you want to go over here to File. You're going to go down to Close Game, and you'll want to click on that. Okay, and you can save your game before you close it off. You don't have to, because I guess that's you've already submitted that for marks, so you don't need to worry too much about it. And the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need to import this thing called the IDU game. Now I'm going to remove this from my project file just to start off with nothing, as you guys would. Okay, and you'll need to download. Let me go to my downloads. You're going to download this file called idugame.stencil. Okay, so once you've downloaded that on your computer somewhere, we can now import that. Okay, so you've closed off your previous game. Now you have the import game option. We're going to click on that, and I'm going to choose my IDU game.stencil. Okay, and it's going to pull the template into Stencyl for you. Okay, so I'm going to open that up. Just double click on it, and it says IDU. That stands for Interdisciplinary Unit. And we're going to go to actor types over here on the left in our dashboard. Then we're going to double click on the folder, and we're going to open up Dice 12. Okay, at this point, what I would encourage you to do is to try out the template just to see what happens. So you can click on Test Game, and just to save time, because it takes quite a bit of time to load, I've already got it loaded up right here. Okay, so what you'll see is that it'll, one more thing. Make sure you select HTML5 beta. You've probably done that already if you had already taken the Stencyl course. So what you'll see here is essentially a random number generator that simulates a dice roll. So you can click on it, and it's going to show the number that you rolled. And you can click on the second one, and it'll show you another number that you rolled. Okay, and these are things that your math teacher will discuss a little bit further with you, but it shows that it's multiplying the two numbers together. That's called the product in math. Okay, and depending on what number you get a part of the animal that you are designing, I guess. Okay, so you can always re-roll it. So we'll click on that again. Okay, this time 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, and then we can see that there's a little antenna here now. I'm going to re-roll that one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat this a few times. 60. Okay, we can see the body. Okay, now occasionally you might see a little bit of a visual bug where the animation keeps going. I'll see if I can find it. I probably won't because I'm trying to find it. Okay, so as you roll different numbers, you're going to see parts of the bug appear. Okay, so how does this work? All right, so first off, I want to look at the code with you guys. So under Dice 12, go to the Events tab. Okay, now there's a lot of code here, but there's actually very little code that you need to change. So the first thing that you'll want to try to change is the max dice value. Now, as you can probably guess from the name of it, this controls how big the dice is. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 8. Okay, and I'm going to test this game one more time. So click on Test Game. And again, just to save time, I have pre-tested this. So you're going to see something like this. So you're still going to see the numbers 1 to 12. Okay, but if you roll it, I'm going to roll this a few times. You're going to notice that none of these numbers goes bigger than 8, okay, even though the animation goes up to 12. Okay, so this is not a coincidence that I'm not getting anything over 8. Okay, this is because of specifically the way the program has been designed. Okay, because I changed the maximum value, my 2 dice rolls can now only go up to So what's going on with the animation? Why is it still going up to 11? Well, the answer to that is in the appearance. So we're going to go back to the appearance tab. And if you scroll down here and you click on animation 0, you're going to see that the animation actually consists of all the numbers from 1 to 12 as it was originally designed. So now, because we've changed this value to 8, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to remove the numbers up to 8. Okay, so you can select this one at a time and click on remove frame. Okay, you can also hold onto shift and you can try a multi-click like that. You can remove multiple frames at once like this. Okay, so now what we've done essentially is that the animation is now synchronized with the game itself. So rather than having it bugged like this, I'm going to close this off. Okay, we're going to see something more like this. So here it's going from 1 to 8. Okay, and if I click on it, it'll match the random number that I rolled. Okay, so something like that, right? Okay, so hopefully that part is now clear. So if we want to change this a little bit further, right? Let's say we want to make this 6. Okay, so what we're going to have to do then is we're going to have to shrink this animation down to 6. Okay, if you want a bigger dice roll, obviously you're going to have to add more pictures here for the dice roll. So let's say you want a 20. You want the number 20 in your dice roll, so you want the random numbers from 1 to 20. You have to add more pictures here as well. Right. The next thing I want to look at in the computer code is which part of the body gets generated. And this can be a little bit complicated, and I don't think I can move that. So we're going to focus on this part of the computer code right here. So you'll notice that I wrote a little comment in this sort of like black or gray type of color, and it says students should modify the code below based on the probability determined. Okay? So that's a really key thing that I've tried to highlight for students is I made a comment and I put in capital letters students. Okay, so if you're thinking about, oh my God, I got all this massive code, right? Don't worry, okay? Only look at the commented stuff. Okay, you should only modify that code in there. Okay, so what this is doing is this is determining an upper and a lower value for your random numbers or the product of your random numbers because we're multiplying together here. Now you can actually change the operation by pulling this out. If we go to numbers and text, you can choose a different operation like addition. So rather than multiplying the 2, we can add the 2 like this. Okay, and then we can include that back into our computer code. So if we add the 2 numbers and they're less than 30, okay, and again, you'll want to repeat that over here as well. So I'm going to grab another add. I'm going to trash this. Okay, so we're just going to pull up the random numbers, 1 and 2, and then we're going to replace the multiplication with addition. Okay, now naturally you'll have to do this with each and every one of these ifs. So you're going to have to pull this one out, pull this one out, okay, and then replace them all. Okay, now for time reasons, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to revert back to my original program. So we're just going to do the product here. But if you want to change the addition, you have to change each of these operations from multiplication to addition, subtraction, or division. Okay, now you might have noticed when I keep rolling, I can't seem to get other parts of my ladybug. Okay, I only see the antenna and the body here. So why is that? Okay, let's investigate our code a little bit. So if we look at, let me just reset this whole program. Okay, so I'm going to do a dice roll with you guys. 2 and 7, that's 14. And I see the antenna. So let's have a look at our code. So it says if we roll a number and the product is greater than 1 and it's less than 30, less than or equal to 30, it says set ladybug antenna to true. That means the antenna was originally hidden and now we're saying it's okay to show the antenna. So essentially, when we get a number between these values, 1 and 30, we see an antenna. If we get a number between 31 and 60, we see the body. If we get a number between 61 and 90, we see the left leg, and so on. So I'm just going to keep rolling here. And so now we see 32. So again, if we look back at my code, 32 is bigger than 31, but less than 60. So that's why we see the body. And if you think about it, the reason we don't see the legs is because our biggest value that we can get here is 8. So 8 times 8 is 64. And so at most, all we can get is the left leg. So I'm not going to, I'll try to see if I can roll a double 8. Nope. All right, I'm pretty bad at this. Okay, so, but if we do roll a double 8, I do trust that we're going to see left leg, but we'll never see the other one, okay? So what you're going to need to do is you need to readjust your program so that it fits with the new dice values, okay? So if the maximum number is 8 times 8, which is 64, that's the highest this number down here should be, okay? And I'm sure your math teacher can help you out with this, okay? So likewise, we won't see 90 here. So this is going to be the number just below 50. Okay, so if you look at the pattern, it's always 1, 30, and this next number is always one more than that, 60. Okay, and then 60, this one is 61. So I'm working backwards here. So 50, but this is going to be 49. I'm just going to make this a number smaller, like 35. Okay, so therefore this one has to be 34. And I guess I could keep this as 31 because it is between 31 and 34. Okay, so this is something that your math teacher will show you how to work out in terms of probability and statistics. Okay, the last and the most difficult thing that you guys are going to need to do is if you want to add more than 4 body parts, you're going to have to create your own.